I am on a quest to get all of my favorite pistols with iron sights milled for optics. This 5-inch M&P 2.0 is my second favorite striker-fired pistol, right behind my CZ P10F. I know it's important to learn and train with iron sights on pistols to maintain proficiency, but red dots are better. I have posted a couple of optic milling service review type videos, so I figured I would make another one detailing the process for this Smith & Wesson. I chose C&H Precision because I have a couple of their optic mounting plates and I like their products. They also offered the milling service for this gun with the footprint I wanted, an option for backup iron sights, as well as only refinishing the milled area and not compromising the factory finish of the slide. I wanted to keep this gun 50 shades of peanut butter. To start this process, I first contacted them and asked if the factory loaded chamber indicator on top of the slide would be a problem. They said no, but I would lose that feature, which is fine because I don't care about it. I then went on their website and picked all the options for the milling service, added it to my cart, and checked out. I had this milled for a Leupold DeltaPoint Pro, which I will touch on later. I opted to have them only refinish the milled area with black Cerakote and leave the factory slide finish everywhere else. I chose to have them mill a Glock dovetail behind the optic for backup iron sights. I will go into more detail about the backup irons as well. All said and done, including shipping and insurance back to me, this cost $200, and I feel this is a reasonable price for this service. I stripped the slide down and mailed it, and the shipping cost me $32. You can leave the slide assembled, but they will charge you $12.50 to disassemble it. The day they received my slide, they gave me a call to confirm the details of the service and my mailing address for the return shipment. They finished the milling service and it was shipped back 18 days total, or 14 business days after they received it. It was at my door 4 days later. In total, from the day I shipped it to the day it was back at my door was a total of 3 weeks and 4 days. This is reasonable turnaround time. I got no issues with it. I chose the Leupold DeltaPoint Pro mainly because it has a big window, it's pretty popular and well proven, and most importantly it comes in a flat dark earth finish. I got this on sale for $350, they're normally $450, but I would never pay full price for this. My two main gripes with this optic are: one, this quick release battery cap. Why have a quick release battery cap for a battery you're only going to be changing once a year at most, maybe? This increases the deck height and makes it a heavier and larger optic. It also increases complexity, makes it harder to seal up, and likely makes it more expensive and difficult to manufacture and assemble. Two, the button to turn on and off the optic and adjust settings is in front of the emitter on top of this stupid trash can battery lid. So to change the brightness, you have to block the emitter with your finger to press the button, then move your finger to check the brightness, and then press it again if it's not correct. Does it really take that long? No. But is it frustrating every time? Yes. Other than that, it has all the features I want, and did I mention it comes in FDE? Machining quality on this generally looks good. There's a little bit of funky looking stuff right here, but that's just because that is the roll pin for the extractor that also gets cut in the process. Everything else looks pretty nice. I like that they are able to just refinish the milled area. It looks like it was masked off and sprayed pretty well. There are some very minor unfinished shiny spots around the perimeter of the milling work, but that's not really of concern to me. I'm also pretty sure that this slide is machined out of a hunk of stainless, so I'm not worried about corrosion or anything like that. The optic fits in there great. There is no movement whatsoever. I'm very pleased with that. And of course, moving forward, now that the rear sight dovetail was milled away, this is where the firing pin safety block and spring goes. So this will now be held down by the optic rather than the rear sight. So can't shoot this gun without an optic anymore unless I get a cover plate of some sort for it, but I never plan on doing that, so this doesn't really bother me. Optic mounts up just great, no issues with you know, screw hole thread location or depth. I had a dovetail milled behind the Optic. They only offer a Glock dovetail. I needed a set of co-witness iron sights with a Glock dovetail in the back and the factory M&P dovetail in the front. I went to C&H Precision for this. I got a Glock MOS rear sight. Since these sights are designed to co-witness with optics, they don't have any material that protrudes in front of the dovetail right here. But other than that, I think they are the same dovetail as the regular Glock sights. The rear sight is 0.545 tall. This height is tall enough that I can see the full depth of the notch over the dummy thick body of the DeltaPoint Pro. On the Dawson sight, when selecting rear sight height, they tell you the corresponding front sight height. For the 0.545 tall rear sight, they recommend a 0.535 tall front sight, so I went and got a 0.530 height front sight for the M&P dovetail because that's the tallest option they offered. So by my calculations, the point of aim and point of impact for these sights should intersect around 12 yards. I had time to go shoot this before my backup irons arrived in the mail, so I'll have to test this next time I go out now that these sights are installed on the slide. The rear sight was a bit tight in the dovetail. It did require a little bit of fitting, but not anything out of the ordinary, just some light file work on the dovetail of the sight itself. I paid $65 for these sights in total. I will link to the specific sights I ordered in the description. Overall, I am very pleased with the C&H Precision optic milling service and would feel comfortable recommending it. The cost, customer service, wait time, and machining quality are all good. Regarding performance of the pistol, I was worried that I would need to swap the recoil spring out for adding this extra weight to the slide, and also a 5-inch slide on a 9mm is already a bit big and heavy for certain loadings of the cartridge. But this functioned just fine with the optic on the slide. I'm comfortable with the ejection pattern and distance. In terms of the recoil impulse with this extra weight sitting way up here, I feel like I did notice a slight increase in muzzle flip, and I think maybe the muzzle was diving a bit more when the slide came back into battery. In the future, I may play around with springs to see if I can improve the recoil feel. Since this slide did have the loaded chamber indicator, there is now an open channel from the rear of the chamber up to the front of the optic. This blows debris and carbon back at the optic lens and clouds it up pretty quickly. More of an annoyance than anything, but it does need to be wiped off every 50 rounds or so. I know I poo-pooed the DeltaPoint Pro for its stupid battery access and controls, but really, it's a pretty nice optic. Once it's turned on and the brightness is adjusted, it's great to shoot with. The lens is big. For quick and easy dot acquisition, the glass is nice and clear with minimal distortion and the dot is crisp. I feel pretty good about my purchase for $350. Again, I still wouldn't pay $450 for this optic. That wraps up this video. I hope it was interesting and informative. Let me know what milling services you have used and your experience with them in the comments, especially if it's on an M&P series pistol. Thanks for watching.